I would ask that you please rise, those that are able. And we would have the posting of the colors. Flag bearers, both colors. Please hit first. Please join me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would now like to ask our Legion chaplain, Mr. Bill Petrusky, to lead us in the Memorial Day prayer. Bill? I've got one, Bill.
Let us pray. Almighty God, giver of all victories, we thank thee for the opportunities which abide in our land, for thy guidance in the hour of peril, and the tender love of times of need. Help us to remember the reverence of valor and devotion of our departed comrades, not only for their bodies consecrated with their country's soil, but also those who sleep beyond the seas, and others whose resting place will not be known until the last day when the deed will be given up from the dead. O God, teach us to honor them and never cherish the ordeals of which they fought. Keep us steadfast in the cause of human rights, the liberties of law and order, the true Americanism. Give us the power to see and the will to do the right. Grant that American Legion may observe the high ordeals for which the comrades died. May the merciful blessing rest upon those who are left behind. Keep us forever firm in the righteousness, humble of heart, and cherished of purpose. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Well, again, if you've been here before, some of this is going to be repetitious, but it seems to work. So, on behalf of Earl James Howell, Foley American Legion Post 298, the Foley Legion Auxiliary, and the Foley Squadron of the Sons of American Legion, we welcome you all to the 2026 Memorial Day program. This program is intended to be a solemn event in which we pay tribute and honor all deceased veterans, especially those who died in combat during the war. Therefore, we request no applause during the program. As in the past, rather than waiting till the end, we wish to express our thank yous now. First, thanks to all who are in attendance today. Second, thanks to the Foley High School staff, students for their assistance and participation in today's program. It's great to have our young people take part in these types of events. Third, sincere thank you to the Benton County Herald and all the businesses who donated funding for the publication of the names of deceased veterans. If you get the Benton County Herald, I'm sure you've seen all the cemeteries listed. There's also a continuous scroll here running of all those buried in cemeteries. If I forgot anybody, I sincerely apologize. And moving on, I would like to make a few announcements. One, this year we had 5 students who applied and were accepted into the Boys State program, Legion Boys State. We've never, ever had 5. I told Mr. Foss, who I believe is here, the principal, I was just astounded that we had 5. It's fantastic. And because we had 5, usually we have some of them take part in the program. However, I didn't have 5 things to do, and I didn't want to have anybody left out. So, but again, 5 students who applied, it's fantastic. And it shows that patriotism, at least in this school district, this school is alive and well. I appreciate that. Second, members of the Honor Guard will be going out to Gilman Cemetery after this program. They'll be there approximately 10:45, 11 o'clock or so. So if you do want to go out to Gilman, there may be some people there already, but if you want to go there, the Honor Guard will present a short program there. Third, I was told by someone that there is going to be another flyover. A few years ago we had a flyover here of 3 airplanes. However, I don't have a time. They didn't give me the time, so I apologize for that. But if you do see 3 planes fly over eventually, it is a flyover. Last thing is, over the past few years, I've had a number of people, when it comes to the closing ceremonies, when we retire the colors and go out and have the rifle salute and taps, a number of people have indicated to me that they would like to get up and be able to go outside and observe the ceremony. So when we do get the colors retired outside, I'm going to wait maybe 5 or so minutes. Mr. Legionnaire Jim Amon is in charge of the group out there. And if you do want to exit the building to go out and observe the ceremony, it's fine. If you want to stay inside, that's fine also. But I do ask that you remain standing until the ending of taps. At the closing of taps, that's the end of the program. So again, if you do want to go outside, we'll wait a few minutes. People want to go see that. I believe that's all the announcements that I have. So now we will get back to the printed program. And we'll have Mr. Tanner Brosh, who is a member of the Sons of the American Legion, come forward and recite the Gettysburg Address. Tanner?
The Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. November 19th, 1863, Abraham Lincoln.
Thank you, Tanner. I would now like to ask Legionnaire Gary Swanson come forward. Gary will be doing recitation of I Am the Flag. Legionnaire Swanson.
I am the flag. I am the flag of the United States. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning. I stand guard with power and world. I look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I'm full with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am loved. I am revered. I am respected. I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox. I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, in the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, and the beaches of Normandy. Guam, Okinawa, Korea, and Quezon, Saigon, Vietnam know me. I was there. I led my troops. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my soldiers cheered me, and I was proud. I've been burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries I have helped set free. does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of my own country. And when it's done by those whom I've served in battle, it hurts. But I shall not overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped through the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space from the vantage point on the moon. I have borne silent witness to all America's final hours. When I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield, when I am flown at half-mast to honor my soldier, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of a son or daughter, I am proud. I am the flag of the United States of America.
Thank you, Gary. We'll now have a musical selection. This is called Southampton March. Again, it's the Foley High School Band Ensemble under direction of Miss Janelle Hesh. Thank you, Janelle and fellow band members. Excellent job. Each year it comes, we have to get a keynote speaker for this program, and it's been difficult some years to find anybody. People are going, family things going on. This year was rather easy. I had someone offered a suggestion and contacted the individual, and the individual agreed. And we're very honored to have First Lieutenant Julia Howard here. And I have a little bit of information that I'd like to read. And First Lieutenant Julia Howard was raised in Foley, Minnesota by her parents, Tom and Becky Howard. She graduated from Foley High School in 2018 and went on to join the Reserve Officer Training Corps at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering and commissioned as a Civil Engineering Officer in the United States Air Force in December of 2022. From there, she began active duty at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, attending the Air Force Institute of Technology and getting her graduate degree in engineering management in June of 2025. She moved to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. She is currently the engineering flight commander and deputy flight chief, supervising 70 personnel, to include 24 airmen working day to day as project managers and geo-base surveyors. So it's indeed my honor. I'm so privileged to be able to introduce First Lieutenant Julia Howard.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Walter, for the nice introduction. It is an honor to be here today. Before I begin, I would like everyone in this room to think of a name. Just one. Someone who is no longer with us. Someone you served with, someone you grew up next to who rose to the occasion, raised their hand, and took that oath. A father, a sister, a friend. Hold that name in your mind for just a moment. That is what we are here for today. Memorial Day is not about us. It is not about the living. It is about the men and women who raised their right hand, swore the same oath we swore, and did not come home. Everything we do today, the parades, the wreaths, the rifle volley, even this speech, it all exists to honor them. When I was asked to speak today, my mind went right to traditions. Because traditions are how the military remembers. It is how we carry our dead forward with us. And being fourth generation military, I have lived or been passed these traditions throughout my time in uniform. Every branch of our armed forces, each one of them, has built its unique traditions around the same 5 key principles: cohesion, capacity, competence, capability, and character. I want to walk through each one of those with you, and I want to tell you the story of one airman who grew up just south of here. A story many of us in this room can relate to. Cohesion. Cohesion is the trust between people who have to depend on each other with their lives. No branch demonstrates this more clearly than the United States Marine Corps. Every year, on November 10th, the Marines celebrate their birthday. And at the ceremony, they cut a cake. The first slice goes to the eldest Marine present, and the next slice to the youngest Marine in the room. That is the entire tradition. Cake slices. One Marine to another. But what this tradition symbolizes is so deep. It is the experienced, wiser Marine saying, everything I know, I am giving to you. Everything they gave me, I am passing on to you. The Marines have been doing this since the 1920s. It is a simple act, and it is also one of the most powerful expressions of legacy that I have ever seen. That is cohesion. That is how a unit stays whole, even when the people in it change. Capacity. Capacity is the willingness to take on whatever the nation needs, wherever it needs it. And that is the United States Army. The Army has been doing this since 1775. It is the largest branch, takes on the most recruits every year. It has fought in every American war, and along the way, it has lost soldiers whose names we will never know. For those brave men and women, there is the tomb of the unknown soldier. 21 steps, a turn, 21 seconds of silence, and 21 steps back. The sentinel walks that path every minute of every hour of every day. In rain, in snow, in darkness. Through hurricanes that have evacuated the city around them, the Guard has never left that post since 1937. Think about that for a moment. Nearly 90 years of continuous watch over soldiers whose identities were never recovered. That is what capacity looks like when it is taken to its highest expression. Not just the ability to do the job, that refusal to ever stop doing it. Competence. Competence is the quiet skill of doing hard things in hard places with what you have. And that belongs to the United States Navy and the United States Coast Guard. Out at sea, you cannot call for what you forgot. You work with what is on the ship. You fix what breaks with what is in front of you. The Navy and the Coast Guard have been doing this for as long as this country has had a flag. 6 years ago, I was in a college class with a Navy veteran. And after retiring from the service, he had come back to finish his degree. He stood out because he had an anchor tattooed on his hand, so I asked him about it. And he told me a very monumental story. There's one piece in particular that stood out amongst the rest. He had told me about the bell. On a ship, the bell rings to mark the watch. 8 bells means a watch has ended, and when a sailor passes, in service or long after, the crew rings the bell 8 times for them. It means, your watch is over, you can rest now. We have it from here. 8 bells. That is competence carrying grief with dignity. Capability. Capability is the ability to change, to meet a new fight with a new tool. And that is the United States Space Force. Space Force is our youngest branch. They're only 5 years old. They are still building their traditions, and that is something I have watched with real interest in my time in uniform. They came out of the Air Force, so they carried some of our traditions with them, but they are still writing new ones. And that matters. That matters because the threats we face do not stand still, so neither can we. The men and women in the Space Force are figuring out right now how to honor their fallen in a way that fits the work they do. They'll get it right. Every branch did in its time. Every day that they stand strong, they prove capability is alive and well within the service. The willingness to build something new without ever forgetting what came before. Character. And that brings me to the United States Air Force, my branch, my home. Character is not a tradition you can point to on a calendar. It is the thing that has to be there before the tradition can mean anything. In the Air Force, when an airman has made a significant contribution to the service or to the country, there is a tradition that a fighter aircraft in our fleet can be named after them. Their name is painted on the side, and it flies. Every airman who walks past that aircraft sees the name and is reminded just of what we represent. And now back to that airman who held a significant place in my life. He did not have an aircraft named after him. There is no building with his name on it. He was not famous, and he did not need to be. In 1947, a young farm kid living just south of Foley enlisted in the Army. That same year, the Air Force became its own branch. He was there at the beginning of something. One of the men who built the service I belong to today. He did not have to enlist, but he raised his right hand because that's the kind of man he was. He served. He came home. He lived a long life. He had a family, and he had grandchildren. He was able to help carry on these traditions, just as each of us here today can do. At his funeral, I stood in service dress, saluting while taps played. I had heard taps many times before, but never for him. The finale of military traditions. Some of you may have known him as Thomas Lateral, the farm kid, the soldier turned airman, the motor grader operator, school bus driver, but I just called him Grandpa. To the veterans here today, and to the families of those who are not, thank you. For the service, for the sacrifice, for the names that you carry that the rest of us will never know. And to everyone who came out this morning to stand with us, thank you. Your presence is the tradition. As long as people gather on this day in towns like this, our dead are not forgotten. That is what Memorial Day is for. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you. I would now like to ask Legionnaire Joseph Caprath come forward, and Joel will be doing In Flanders Fields, and he also has a couple other things he would like to mention. And before the program started, he asked me if I would allow it, and I said I certainly would allow it. So I would ask again, Legionnaire Joseph Caprath to please come forward.
I was asked if I would read Flanders Fields, and I found something else that I would like to mention first. I think it's germane to Memorial Day, the day we honor the veterans that have passed. In the Netherlands, there's an American military cemetery. 8,302 brave American soldiers, military, are interred there. All 8,302 of those graves have been adopted by a local family that brings flowers to the grave, visits the grave, as if it was a family member. All of those graves are spoken for. There's a waiting list of over 300 families that if one should become available, they are on the list to adopt it. Lasting respect to our fallen American heroes. On this day, Memorial Day here in the United States, numerous schools throughout Europe will shut down today. They're going to do a field trip, a class trip, with one destination. These class trips visit American cemeteries throughout Europe. They think it's that important that these kids be shown the price of their freedom. They pay respect to those who paid that price. Respect for our fallen American heroes. On October 30th, 1915, a Canadian nurse named Claire Glass copied a poem in her journal. The poem was written by a Canadian physician named John McCrae. That poem was In Flanders Fields, written after the death of his friend in Paris, France. In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. If I could take a few more short minutes, and this is what I asked Commander Walters for permission. Those of you who have been up to the Legion recently may or may not have seen, we put a plaque on one of the walls. On that plaque is the name of all of the Foley area military that died in battle. This is a list that is taken from government records. It's nothing we compiled. Our list shows the name, date of death, where they are buried, and how they were killed. This isn't to be confused with the list that's on the scrolling or the one that Jim Amon will share with you of the recently passed. These are, as near as can be determined, the military folks that we pay particular respect today, Memorial Day. World War I, Karl Ekholm, Anton Finnbogson, Frank Gruba, Clarence Stowe, John Gerke, Clarence Hart, Earl James Howe, Edwin Enderbus, Philip Magnus, Francis Kelesh, Anton Stelmach. In World War II, this community lost A.J. Verschweiler, Joseph Hoffman, Art Lewandowski, Felix Urich, Charlie Hennick, John Lesno, Jim Loomis, Harry Ogg, Hubert O'Neill, Edward Rakuski, Gregory Singelis, Roy Skaya, Joseph Stay, Leonard Swanson, and John Callahan. In Korea, we lost Curtis Seamers, Richard Swanson, and John Valancourt. In Vietnam, we lost Francis Barone and Conrad Kuffel. Let's each of us say our prayers that next year we do not have to add another name to this list.
Thank you, Joe. And once again, I did a veteran's speech here a while back at the school. And I encourage you, if you haven't, folks, go up to the Legion and just see some of the displays up there. It's pretty hard moving. Thank you, Joe. I'd like to have now Legion Auxiliary member, Jane Swanson, come forward. And she will be doing I Am the Poppy.
I am the poppy. I am the poppy, so small and red, bowing my head where blood was shed. Remembering the heroes, young and old, who went to war as they were told, to protect their country and families to help keep them free. Many fell in the war zones, never again to see their homes. Some returned to their beloved land, disabled and needing a helping hand. Disabled and needing help. Heroes grow old and are in need of care. Remember them as a poppy you wear. To honor the dead and help the living, it is for this cause that you are giving. Wear me proudly on Poppy Day. Your gift will help in many ways. I am the red poppy of sacrifice. I lift my head high and proudly face life.
Thank you, Jane. And now I ask Legionnaire Jim Amon to come forward. He's also our vice commander at our Legion Club. And this is a listing of veterans who have passed away since last Memorial Day. So, Legionnaire Amon, please come forward. Bruce Haber, Richard Campa, Kenneth Panger, Alan Juck, Robert Abfalter, Steve Shimleski, Larry Belvich, Abigail Steiner, Harvey Ekman, Kenneth Brennan, Robert Carlson, Howard Johnson, Ronald Scott, Anthony Boyle. That's a total of 14 that we've lost since last Memorial Day. Now I'm going to go over and I always sing this song at Memorial Day, and been doing it for 20-some years, I guess. So, and like I just said, we lost 14. Some of the veterans I didn't know personally. Some were Legion members. Not only members of our Legion, but good friends that we lost. So I'm going to go do the song. I dedicate it to them. I also dedicate it to all those who have served in the military and are now deceased. And again, as Mr. Kapp has read that listing of local individuals who died in combat. So the song is called Remember. Please allow me to remove my hat. I guess it's working. Oh, it's not. I hope it is now. Anyway, again, this goes out to all those who have passed, and keep them in your prayers. And again, as Mr. Capper said, hopefully we won't be reading a lot of names next year. Today we remember sacrifices made, every fallen soldier lying in a grave. We remember, oh,
Yes, we do. We remember today, we honor you. Some gave their life on a distant shore. Others came home but are here no more. Remember them. Now they stand at ease. Remember them. Now may they rest in peace. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, brothers and sisters, heroes everyone, we remember all those who have died. We remember with tear-filled eyes. Fighting for freedom, the cause supreme. Army, Guard, and Air Force, Navy, and Marines, remember all those who are gone. Remember them, their memory lingers on. To all military in war and peace, we applaud your service, your unselfish deeds, and remember and say a job well done. We remember and thank you, everyone. Let us not forget, living in this land, freedom has a price to pay, we all understand, and remember all those passed away. We remember them on this special day. God bless each veteran for your duty given. May you someday find a place in heaven and be remembered in some small way. Be remembered for the price you paid. Let us not forget, living in this land, freedom has a price to pay, we all understand, so remember, sacrifices made. Remember what each one gave. Remember the departed this special day. Remember them this Memorial Day. Remember them this Memorial Day. You know, it's getting harder to do that song. Here we go.
We'll now have the retiring of the colors. And as I said, once the colors have been retired and they're outside, you're certainly free to go outside and watch the ceremony, rifle salute and taps. If you choose not to go out, please remain standing until the conclusion of taps, and then that will be the conclusion of the service. Again, thank you ever so much for coming, and I'll turn it over now to the honor guard and we'll have a retiring of the colors. I forgot to mention, we do have a student bugler, and we want to thank Alex Stang. He will be playing taps. I stand corrected, we shall have the ceremony. So I believe, am I right? If you do want to go out, ladies and gentlemen, you're free to go. Please stand, and I guess we retire the colors later. Again, we'll have the colors will be taken out. So. Please allow the gentleman to take the colors out. Remain standing.
That concludes the program. Again, thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of Memorial Day. God bless each one of you, and may God bless America. I forgot to mention, we do have a student bugler, and we want to thank Alex Stang. He will be playing taps. I stand corrected. We shall have the ceremony. So I believe, am I right? If you do want to go out, ladies and gentlemen, you're free to go. Please stand, and I guess we retire the colors later. Again, we'll have the colors will be taken out. So. Please allow the gentleman to take the colors out. Remain standing. Fire. Right. Move. Present. Fire. concludes the program. Again, thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of Memorial Day. God bless each one of you, and may God bless America.